Good evening, everyone. If we could please ask you to take your seats, we'd like to start the program. We certainly hate to interrupt all of the wonderful conversation, but we are going to start in about 15 seconds.
I'm just going to sit here and let Colleen do all the dirty work. I don't care how
Mike.
long you talk. Keep talking. Colleen wants you to be quiet. So.
It depends on how early they want to get out of here.
Right.
There's a lot of Fort Collins to see. Great. Thank you. Well, good evening and welcome. I'm Colleen Meyer, the Executive Director of the CSU Alumni Association, and it's wonderful to have you here this evening.
And I'm Mike Hooker, Executive Director of Public Affairs and Communications, and we are extremely excited to welcome everybody to the 2012 Distinguished Alumni Awards.
Mike, I particularly want to welcome you. This is your first Distinguished Alumni Awards with us. You've been on the job for about 8 months now?
8 months. After years and years at CBS 4 News, I finally get to join the Ram family and say, go Rams, without having to hold back and be the good journalist who doesn't get to cheer for things. So I'm really excited to be here and able to cheer finally for a great place. So thank you.
It's great to have you here. Happy homecoming to you.
Thank you.
And happy homecoming to all of you. It is homecoming eve, and we have a wonderful weekend of events. I know where everybody's on pins and needles about the weather, but we can handle it. No problem. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I want to thank you all for being here and joining us for such a special evening that will inspire us and truly show us the value of higher education in Colorado State University.
And tonight we are honored to welcome our Distinguished Alumni Award recipients and family and friends. We also do want to take a couple of moments to recognize some special guests who are here with us this evening. In the interest of time saving, let's hold our applause, which I'm sure will be robust until we've introduced all of these people. From the Colorado House of Representatives, 2 Colorado State alumni, Randy Fisher and John Kafalas. We also have members of the about that applause. But seriously, guys. Members of the President's Cabinet and University Deans, Kathleen Henry, the President and CEO of the CSU Foundation and members of the CSU Foundation Board, Darshan Shah, the President of the Alumni Association Board of Directors, and other members of the board, current members as well as a lot of past members of the board as well. So thank you all for being with us here tonight. And now, let us clap. Also, please allow me to thank Albert Miller for his generous support as a table sponsor this evening. Thank you, Albert.
We are also honored to have with us tonight former Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. And if you are a former Alumni Award recipient, could you please stand? We'd like to give you a round of applause as well. Excellent. Thank you for being here. Well, we kick our evening off with some remarks from the president of Colorado State University, Tony Frank. And I'm always just thrilled to be able to introduce him. And Tony, thank you for being here with us tonight. And welcome to Distinguished Alumni Awards.
Thanks, Colleen. Has Mike's really only been here 8 months? It seems so much longer than he's joined us. Let me add my welcome as well, and it's my pleasure as well to welcome to our event several members of the Board of Governors, the Colorado State University system. If you could all stand briefly so we can give you a round of applause, I would appreciate that. These men and women provide exceptional leadership to something that I think is a critical asset to the state of Colorado, and they very much deserve our applause. And let me echo Colleen's welcome to all of you for homecoming weekend, and especially to our alumni who are back. This is a couple of weeks ago, my wife Patty and I were back at our alma mater, the University of Illinois, for an event not dissimilar from this one, although it wasn't nearly as nice as this, although I'm biased. But you know, it's interesting to watch an event like this from both directions, right? To watch it as an award recipient and then to come back and watch how we do things here. And I think that the theme that came through to me was how much pride we have in our institutions, and how those of us who are at a place like this now want to show off for all of you, for our alums who come back. We want you to be proud of what we've accomplished with your institution. And when I was back on the Illinois campus, they wanted to show us around and show off the new buildings and show what the place has become. And that's the same sort of a feeling I know I have as we prepare for this event. This is a university that I hope gives you a great deal to be proud of. We've just set our 4th year of record enrollment. We've welcomed the largest entering class in the history of Colorado State University. 1 in 4 of our students is still the first in their family ever to go to college. We're still the school of choice for Colorado, with more high school graduates from the state choosing us than any other institution. Diversity, retention, graduation rates, all headed in very, very positive directions. This is our 9th consecutive year of record research. Earlier this week, we celebrated the ribbon cutting of the opening of the Department of Interior's North Central Regional Science Climate Center. We broke ground on an expansion of the Engines and Energy Conversions Lab, and we celebrated the 2nd Natural Gas Symposium within this very room, and all of those events happened within a single 24-hour period. Amazing research that happens at this university. Those of you who haven't been back to campus for a while, the renovations, the expansions, the new facilities, I don't believe our campus has ever looked better. I believe what we are creating here, it will be a legacy for generations that follow us at Colorado State University. And from alumni engagement records to fundraising to academic reputation, the institution has never been in better shape. This is a university that's marked in all of these things, of course, by excellence, by a commitment to excellence in everything that we do. But it's not just excellence. It's excellence that is available to you if you're from a small town or the urban corridor, if you want to be a teacher, an entrepreneur, or a physicist. This is an access to excellence for anyone who wants to and believes that they can change the world. That access to excellence is the mission of a land-grant university. And I think if Abraham Lincoln were back for a 150th anniversary homecoming of the signing of the Morrill Act in 1862, we would be proud to show him what his and so many other people's dreams have become over those years. Many of you know that I'm prone to speaking about Abraham Lincoln and land-grant universities. My daughter depressed me the other night by telling me that it's actually become a signal in a drinking game for students. And I thought this is now a quandary for me for how often I'd like to mention Lincoln and land-grant universities. But some of you know that after my fall address a couple of weeks ago, where I spoke about this sort of thing, a woman came up to me afterwards and said, if you had the chance to speak to Abraham Lincoln, what would you ask him? And I said without hesitating, I would ask him what he would do about what I consider to be our greatest challenge, this ongoing privatization of American public higher education. And without hesitating, she said, and what do you think he would say? And that I hadn't thought about. And I've spent some time in the 2 weeks since then thinking about that. I believe Lincoln would probably, if asked that question, smile that sort of wry, crooked smile he was famous for, and say that he has some experience with creating positive change against a backdrop of a challenging situation. I think he would tell us that while we don't get to pick the challenges that find us in our lifetimes, how we respond to those challenges will measure us. and define us. I think he would tell us to look around this room, to look around this university, to walk the halls of the buildings, to stroll the grounds of this campus, to take a deep breath, and to just soak in the energy and the potential and the opportunity that a land-grant university will unlock for 27,000 people who will go out and deal with the challenges of tomorrow. I think he would tell us that responding to our challenge, that saving institutions like this, is very much a challenge worth fighting for. And worth fighting for because of people like our awardees tonight. The things that they have accomplished, the awardees that have come before them, the things that they've accomplished, and perhaps most importantly, the people who will come through this room in the future, the things that they will accomplish and the differences that they will make in our world. Those are things that are all provided by the opportunity created by great land-grant universities like Colorado State University. I hope that you're proud of your alma mater, because your alma mater is extraordinarily proud of each of you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a man who is, in my opinion, one of the leading voices of land-grant universities and public higher education in America, a man that I've known probably for about a decade now. I'm extraordinarily pleased that he is the Chancellor of the Colorado State University system, and I'm proud to consider him my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, our Chancellor, Mike Martin.
Thank you, Tony. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to screw up this script for Mike Hooker so we see how he adapts to the reality. But first of all, let me say how proud I am to be with you tonight. I'm new here, so I don't know in great detail all that I would like to know and will come to know about CSU and the system. But here are some things I do know. Following Tony Frank in this town and on this campus is very much like being Lady Gaga's chauffeur. You just can't match a superstar. Secondly, I've known Tony for a decade, and he is a great scholar of Lincoln. You don't know this, but I do. Frequently at national meetings, he actually wears a stovepipe hat. But he has emerged as a real power in higher education, and certainly has demonstrated that here. Mike, I heard you use the term good journalist, which I know has never been used before in that combination. I also know that great universities are known by the people they produce and the company they keep. And this university, certainly in this period of time that I've become familiar with it, has demonstrated that. Now, I regret that I have yet to know everyone being honored tonight, but there is one person in this book that I do know very well, Peter Haynes, who is not here tonight, but is the Dean of Vet Med at LSU, from which I came. And if all of you are at the quality of Peter Haynes, then this is a very special audience, and I know you are. So you distinguish an institution, and you distinguish the state by the accomplishments that you've had and the inspiration that you provide for those who will follow you. And those things I know for certain. And that's why I know that, at least for me, someone who does indeed embrace the land-grant spirit, and one who does indeed embrace our commitment to be the people's university, to be a university that's elite without being elitist. I know that this institution is in wonderful shape thanks to the testament of all of those who are being honored tonight, and the students that several of whom I talked to tonight, who will follow you and eventually sit in this room. So thank you very much for the honor of being Chancellor of the system, and thank you very much for the pleasure of being here tonight to celebrate your accomplishments. Go Rams, and I'm also going to say, go Thunderwolves. The second best Division II team in the country is in the CSU system. Thank you very much.
Dr. Fink and Chancellor Martin, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. So we're going to get the evening started by giving out a few awards, and then we'll have dinner, and we'll come back and give out some more awards. We'll break it up a little bit. So tonight we're going to begin by honoring one of our top Alumni Award recipients, and that is the Jim and Nadine Henry Award. This is given to a person who exemplifies extraordinary service to Colorado State University through academic, athletic, and alumni programs. And it was created in honor of Jim and Nadine Henry, who were named Alumni of the Century in 2000. This year's recipient of the Jim and Nadine Henry Award is Shara Castle, and I believe we have a video.
I was on the board when the Jim and Nadine Henry Award was established about 1985. That award really recognizes people who have been involved with the university, have been involved with the Alumni Association, and been involved over a long period of time.
I think Shara is that same kind of person. She has been a Ram fan probably since the day she started there, always very involved. And I think she's deserving because not only is she involved and she's put her heart and soul into her work and her volunteering, but she's also brought in a lot of other people.
Well, her service on the alumni board was probably her most significant contribution in terms of spending many, many years and hours dedicated to that board and the cause of that board. She was later the president of that board, so that involved even a larger contribution.
She really demonstrated a lot of leadership by coming up with the idea of doing a scholarship black tie gala dinner in Denver. Nobody thought that could be done.
And under Shara's leadership and guidance, we founded the Green and Gold Gala, a premier event in Denver.
And it's been an enormously successful program over the last 10 years. It's raised money for scholarships, but it's raised awareness, and it's injected a young and vigorous and active alumni group of very successful people to be involved in the university and take pride in the university.
She not only gives of herself, but she encourages and gets other people to give alongside with her. So her impact is not just typically her and her involvement, but that of those that she also involves in the causes that are most dear to her.
And you can't help but be around her and get charged up. And that's why we like to have her working with us on various things and projects or whatnot we put together. We like to put her out there because she was supercharged, and she supercharged people around her.
When she wants to get something done, she sits down and tells people she wants to do it, and everybody joins in, and it gets done.
She's a real leader, and she just inspires people to kind of, get involved and to do things and accomplish things that you might not think you were able to accomplish.
I think mostly on a personal level, probably she just really is able to get people engaged and ignite their passions in what she's passionate in and get them involved.
Well, Shara is so deserving of the Henry Award. She's given countless hours to CSU, not only in the alumni board, serving as president of the board, with her involvement with going to football games and Ram Pride, but she also spent countless hours sorting through her late father's artifacts to make a generous donation to Colorado State University's Department of Anthropology.
That's probably the most important thing when I think about Shara and CSU is her commitment to continuing her involvement with the university and her loyalty.
She's a good example for alumni, for future alumni, because she balances her own personal life with an appreciation of higher education, what Colorado State University does for young people.
Shara is just this generation's iteration of Jim and Nadine Henry.
Please help me welcome Shara Castle.
Wow. Everybody asked me if I was going to cry. I'm not crying, but I'm so taken. Thank you so much. I have to tell you that it is not hard to work hard for something that you love, and I love this university. And I guess when I found out that I was going to win this award, I just couldn't believe it. I kind of stood there in awe, and it just seemed like that was something that all the real active, involved alumni get, and I guess I'm one of those. So I have to also say that this is a team effort. this really belongs to a lot of people. And the Green and Gold Gala was conceived in the parking lot of the Manhattan Grill, and nobody believed that CSU could have a black tie event. And of course, I had to get my friend Ann Broholm and Gwen Benevento on the committee, and soon I had to get Katie Dell, and then I had to have my go-to man, Mike Rosser, and it just kept growing and growing. And I have to thank my husband and my daughter, Maddie. My husband, Sean, helped me, and the Gala Gals and Mike. We constantly scoured the football games with cards and saved the date because nobody had heard of the Green and Gold Gala. And I have to thank some of my friends who came and blindly came to the gala, not knowing what they were coming to. And Senator Allard, who I'm just amazed was on that video, I begged him for a long time, please, I've got to have you come to this gala. And my friend Wendy was his scheduler, and she managed to get him scheduled to come. And just a funny, I know I'm going to get the hook here in a minute, Colleen, but the gala almost didn't happen, or it was only going to be a one-time event because we didn't have very much money to do the gala. I think, if I remember right, I had about $500 to decorate. I mean, the Gala Gals and Mike can help me remember. $500 doesn't go very far. And I had to not only take Dr. Yates to Washington to meet Vice President Cheney, because he had received the, what was that award? I can't think right now. Western, somebody help me.
Citizen of the West.
Citizen of the West, yes, thank you. He had just won the Citizen of the West award, and when we got to the White House and after he had met with Vice President Cheney, he and I went to lunch, and he said, now what can I do to help you? And I said, Dr. Yates, you can support me on this Green and Gold Gala because we need to be able to celebrate Colorado State University in Denver, and we need to engage our alumni down in Denver. And so he finally did come to the gala, but with that $500 decorating budget that I was going to tell you about, I wanted confetti cannons, and I couldn't afford them. And I know the alumni staff knows this story, but all I could afford were exploding balloons. And I had hit Ann and Gwen and Katie and Mike and we had hidden the band upstairs, and they were supposed to burst in at a certain time playing the fight song, and those exploding balloons were supposed to go off. And Gwen and I had Senator Allard sitting with us at the table, and the balloons went off except for two of them. And so my little friend Tanita just kept pressing that button, and what she did is she ignited the balloons. And so the balloon caught on fire, and the senator leaned over to Gwen and I and said, I think we're going to get wet. And so I'm so thankful, because that could have been the first and the last Green and Gold Gala, and we would have been on the front page news and probably the laughing stock, but it didn't happen. And the gala has survived. I've been to every single gala. They just keep getting bigger and better. And so I encourage you all to go to the gala. I'm still pushing the gala, but thank you all very much. I appreciate this. I love it. Thank you.
The Albert C. Yates Student Leadership Award is given to an undergraduate student whose leadership, academic achievement, community service, and commitment to excellence have significantly contributed to the success of Colorado State University. At this time, we'll call to the stage Kelly Mason to accept the award. As a student, Kelly has been a leader in CSU's chapter of the National Co-ed Service Fraternity Alpha Phi Omega. Kelly cares about being a benefit to society and improving herself by giving her time to others. She's been a great peer mentor by serving as a role model through leadership and professionalism. Last spring, she was awarded the Distinguished Service Key. It's the highest honor Alpha Phi Omega bestows. Kelly plans to graduate this spring with a double major in biological sciences and languages, literature, and cultures. That sounds like a quintuple major. And we congratulate Kelly Mason as the 2012 Albert C. Yates Student Leadership Award recipient.
Well, I'm so glad that I didn't go first because I was nervous about what I was going to say. Well, basically, I feel so honored to be able to be here with all of you wonderful alumni. I feel so blessed to be able to call myself an alumni now, made it through. I really appreciate the opportunities that CSU was able to give me during my time here, and it's amazing how many student organizations are available on this campus to students, and I was lucky enough to be able to become involved in a special one, Alpha Phi Omega. It's a co-ed community service fraternity, and it made my entire experience at CSU. So I really just need to thank the university for making student organizations possible, and Alpha Phi Omega for allowing me all those opportunities for community service and leadership development. My friends and family that are here tonight, Mom and Dad, thank you. Thank you. Just thank you, that's all. And a really big shout out to Lori Newberg, who nominated me for this award and is an advisor for Alpha Phi Omega. Lori, you really are the kindest person I've ever met, and I'm so glad that you're a part of my life. So thank you again, and thank you, and go Rams.
Next, please welcome this year's recipient of the Distinguished Graduate of the Last Decade Award, Matt Schaub. Not even a decade since graduating from CSU, Matt has found amazing success as the owner of the thriving company M&E Painting and as president of Schaub Consulting. In 2010, Colorado Biz Magazine named M&E Painting one of 50 Colorado companies to watch, and Matt as one of the top 5 most influential young professionals. He has built a business that has given back to the community, building grassroots philanthropic initiatives, and using his personal time and business sense to help others in the community find their entrepreneurial spirit. Matt is a successful young professional, and his peers can look up to for generations to come. It is our honor to recognize his efforts and success with the 2012 Graduate of the Last Decade Award. Matt?
Thank you. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, they told me I've got 2 minutes, and then they're going to kick me off the stage. And I couldn't take enough time to thank everybody that's here. I have my wife here, Emily. I wanted to thank you for all of the support. This is the biggest thing I've ever received in my life. We've had a lot of great awards and recognitions with our businesses, but I'm honored by this. I'm proud to be a CSU Ram, and I'm going to carry this thing around with pride. And Tony, that's super cool, man. I would love to, in my life, have something that will signify somebody to take a shot or a drink when I say it. So that's awesome. Don't be embarrassed by that. You can thank. There's hundreds and thousands of students just drinking right now because of you, and that's cool. They're going to do it safely, though, and they're not going to drive and everything. But so, Emily, I wanted to thank you. Mom and Dad, you guys have been huge support, and you guys inspire me every day to get out there and do what I do. And just thank you to Emily's parents, Steve and Carrie, all the M&E team that's back there, all my friends and family. We've got about 20 of my closest crew here tonight, and you are, the company that you keep, and I couldn't have done any of this without you guys. So this is for you, and I appreciate everything. One more person I wanted to thank, and a couple people is my kids, Riley and Haley. They're at home watching this on live streaming video, so Daddy loves you. Sorry you couldn't be here, but they would have tore this place up to pieces. You guys would have food everywhere. Guaranteed, so they're not here tonight. And I also have amigos y familia en España, gracias por todo. I have some friends and family in Spain. that can't be here tonight, and I'd love to have them here too. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to take this with pride, take this around, and make you guys proud. Thanks.
Next, we are pleased to recognize a member of our academic faculty. Tonight's recipient of the Distinguished Faculty Award is Dr. Wayne Viney. Dr. Viney joined the faculty at CSU in 1966 and continued in that capacity until his retirement in 2007. He is now an emeritus professor and distinguished teaching scholar. He continues to teach a capstone course for the Department of Psychology. Students refer to him as brilliant and inspiring and, quite simply, the best teacher they've learned from at CSU. Dr. Viney's students view him as an exceptional mentor who fosters critical thinking, has an infectious zeal for learning. He strikes the perfect balance, they say, between challenging students and encouraging and guiding them and cultivating freedom and independent thought. We're proud to have Dr. Viney at Colorado State University, and we honor him tonight as the recipient of the Distinguished Faculty Award.
Many thanks to the Alumni Association. You're involved in so many dimensions of university life, and I know I speak for all the faculty when I express appreciation for what you do for the instructional mission. We really feel your efforts and we feel your energy. We thank you. I also thank the administration. I teach a course sometimes in the history and philosophy of science, and I'm just telling Rick Miranda about that. He is now our academic vice president. He was dean at the time. He says, "Oh, I like that field," and he volunteered to come teach. And he has come to my class, and the students were so taken with his very broad approach to scientific method and to the idea that someone from the higher administration would come to the class. And then it's been my privilege to team teach a course with Jan Nerger, who is Dean of the College of Natural Sciences. Jan comes to the classroom with just infectious enthusiasm and great sense of humor and a rigorous approach to content. I learned a lot from Jan. And from faculty, from other faculty, we live in context. And I go way back. Bill Kreutzer, Dr. Kreutzer taught a botany course. And I asked him if I could sit in. He's just the best teacher I ever encountered. He's so spontaneous. He raised teaching to a real art. And he could be so spontaneous. You know, in those days, streaking was going on campus. And his class got streaked with a couple of guys, and this is so spontaneous. He said, after the laughter died down, he said, "Well, they don't mind revealing their shortcomings, do they?" I don't have that kind of spontaneity, but Kreutzer was such a role model for me. Bob Titley was a role model for me. Frank Vitano. I've had such support from our department faculty. I really express appreciation to Dick Swin, Ernie Chavez, Kurt Krager now, and Ed Delash. My two very favorite teachers are here with me tonight, though. My son, Mike, and his wife, Mary. They teach in the Poudre school system. They're very active with CSU and in collaborating with CSU and the Poudre system. Mike teaches courses in physical science and Mary in the biological sciences. Their dedication just is mind-boggling. They are always taking their students to science fairs. They take their students to Science Olympiad. Mary took her students this year to the Nationals in Science Olympiad. Mike has a student that's worked on a solar approach to water purification. And that student now has won tens of thousands of dollars in awards for her project and has been accepted at some of the top universities as she's moved on to high school. So they've been real role models for me. Thank you again. Display this, and I feel that I'm accepting this for all of those people who have influenced me so much. Thank you.
if you're following along in your program tonight, we've had one minor program change. We're going to add one more recipient in before we have dinner. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about our new award that we added this year, and this is the Distinguished International Alumni Award. This award recognizes international alumni who have attained distinction and honor in their countries and continue to create and sustain connections to the university. The inaugural recipient of the Distinguished International Alumni Award is Dr. Hamad Al-Bazai. Dr. Al-Bazai currently serves as the Vice Minister of Finance in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He earned his master's and his PhD in economics and graduated in 1991. Hamad has a distinguished background in the Saudi government and in the Saudi higher education. He is one of the most active members in the CSU alumni group in Riyadh and hosted President Tony Frank in March 2010. He continues to bring honor to the university through his worldwide engagement in financial issues. Dr. Al-Bazai could not be with us tonight, but Dean Ajay Menon, Dean of the College of Business, is going to accept his award on his behalf, and I think Hamad sent us some remarks all the way from Saudi Arabia.
You should hold your applause. He's not here. No, I can't say all of these things. It's all about me. He wants to thank me for all his career. No, we don't do that. In fact, that was Tony Frank's speech for his acceptance. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go on, President Frank and I and Jim Cooney, we had the privilege of going to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, you have an incredible collection of CSU grads. CSU grads who are absolutely true to green and gold. In fact, there is a house that they purchased outside of Riyadh and they call it the CSU house. And the biggest gift we could give them, the best gift we ever gave them, was a flag, a Ram flag. And they hang that with pride. And they go there once every Thursday a month. I don't mean that. And you have a great collection of alums there. So this is what the minister wrote. Chairman of the Board of Governors, President Tony Frank, Colorado State University Deans, ladies and gentlemen. I'm most privileged to receive the first Distinguished International Alumni Award from a university that plays such a big part in developing the potential and talent of tens of thousands of students who come from so many different parts of the world. More than 20 years ago, when I received my doctorate degree from Colorado State University, I never dreamt I would be the recipient of such an award. One of the most important things for me about CSU was not what I learned there in terms of a set of texts or set books we had to read, or the work I carried out towards my doctorate, but what I learned most in terms of a respect for the best in academic work and human civilization. CSU taught me to value humankind even if the profession of an economist is often perceived as a dismal science. And I never felt that anyone at CSU was different from me. We were all the same. We were all students of this university, which has some magic that makes us feel that nothing separates us, neither religion, nor race, nor nationality, nor even different levels of excellence in academic performance. For a good university is far more than a source of technological progress. It is a repository and source of knowledge of culture, of values, of civilization. That too is why a society, why Saudi Arabia cherishes and supports higher education. The King Abdullah Scholarship Program, inaugurated in 2005 and running through 2020, supports the overseas studies of over 140,000 Saudi youth around the world, and CSU continues to be one of the preferred schools for Saudi students. I'm honored to be back, even vicariously, at Colorado State University, and I can only feel the warmth of the campus, its students, and its academic staff. In a sense, I am no different now to the young student who was at CSU so many decades before. But also, I'm different because I had to face different experience back at home and in the international financial arena. I thank CSU, and a special thanks to my teachers, Professor Ronnie Phillips, Professor Ozawa, Professor Stanfield, and many others in the economics department from whom I learned a lot. As an economist, I always see the road ahead to be an interesting one, full of challenges and opportunities, but always difficult to predict. I know CSU expects the best of its own, and today, because of the university has recognized me as its very own, I'm strengthened to go forward to continue to give my very best in meeting the new challenges that lie ahead. Thank you.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Please enjoy your dinners, and we will continue the program in a little bit.